This is Rack and Fin Radio with Tom P., South Jersey's hunting and fishing expert on WPG Talk Radio 1450 and WPG1450.com.
Whether to go or not. Hey, you're inside Rack and Fin Radio with me, Tom P. Weekend of April 2nd and 3rd, WPG 1450 AM from 6 to 7, the Great Talk Radio from 7 to 8, 97.3, ESPN FM, 50,000 watts of the Rack and Fin Radio message. Don't worry, it's this time of year. We're going to have some cold days, we're going to have some cold, rainy days, and man, then it's going to be absolutely beautiful. A lot of stuff going on. Turkey permits, leftover and unclaimed, are still for sale at your license issuing agents. Really Jam Show coming up in our next segment. Russ Allen, Bureau Chief, Marine Fisheries. He's going to talk about the netting and tagging of bass going on down there in Delaware Bay. Also going to touch on the cobia and some weak fish, trout, and tog also on the menu. Grab that cup, grab that Red Bull. Be right back. Rack and Fin Radio.
This is Rack and Fin Radio with Tom P. on WPG Talk Radio 1450.
Yeah, welcome back to Rack and Fin Radio with me, Tom P. WPG 1450 AM from 6 to 7, the Great Talk Radio. Shout out to Harry Hurley down the hall there. Go Harry. And 97.3 ESPN FM from 7 to 8, 50,000 watts of the Rack and Fin Radio message. Our 13th season on the air, promoting the great hunting, fishing, boating, and outdoor opportunities in New Jersey. Well, joining us on the line right now, very special guest. I want to grab him before he's out in the field yet again. Russ Allen, he is the Chief Bureau of Marine Fisheries. Topic is the netting and tagging going on down in Delaware Bay. This is an annual spring thing with the Bureau of Marine Fisheries, gleaning very, very valuable data so far as the striper reproduction, year classes, migration patterns, etc. And Russ is going to fill us in on what has been going on down there in the past few weeks. Mr. Allen, how are you?
Great to hear you, Tom. The top of the morning to you.
Yeah, I better watch these muskrat traps, Russ. They're going to be a little hazardous if you get my drift.
Yeah, I get your drift. You know, you got to watch those things.
Russ, the exercise is going on in D-Bay. What is happening down there?
Well, you know, we've been doing this since 1989 when we first started going there playing around. A lot of the commercial guys told us, hey, you want to tag some stripers, this is the place to go. So we've been in the cove down there in the bay, you know, outside of Dennis and Bidwell's, and just ever since, and tagging fish. It's a mandatory project on the ASMFC side, so we have to do it.
Right.
We've tagged now close to 35,000 fish since then.
Wow. 35. Russ, and so, again, you're seeing the highs and the lows then, correct?
Yeah, it's a funny thing down there. You know, most of the fish we're tagging are smaller, you know, 18 to 28 size fish. And it's, you know, we can see year classes come through and things of that nature, but it's also really weather dependent. And as you know, the weather's been really screwy the last few years, so it's really messed us up. But, you know, one year we get a cold spell all the way through April, and the next year it's, you know, 70 degrees in February.
And Russ, what's being forecast now, I guess, through Monday into Tuesday, temperatures highs in the 40s and lots of wind, so that has to really curtail the activity, correct?
Yeah. Well, you know, we haven't even had a boat out in the last few days. We had one, I think it was Wednesday. You know, we finally started catching a few more striped bass, and, you know, then the winds come, and then the cold's going to hit, and they're going to disappear again, so we'll start all over, you know, once the wind dies down.
Russ, there's been talk that some of the fish, and that's your migrants coming up, and some are Delaware River fish coming down. How's that work?
Most of them are coastal migrants, and, you know, there are Delaware fish in there that are usually the males that we catch are heading up to spawn. Now, we will catch some bigger fish down there. We had a couple of 20-plus pounders last week. But it's, you know, those fish are mostly immature females that we see, one of your favorites. But we keep moving it forward. And, you know, as the river population has done well, we've seen more and more of those river fish in there.
Joining us on the line this morning, WPG 1450 AM and 97.3 ESPN FM is Russ Allen, Chief, New Jersey Bureau of Marine Fisheries. Topic is the netting and tagging that is occurring, hopefully it'll continue by the middle of this coming week in Delaware Bay. Russ, anything unusual over the years that you've noticed?
You know, it's a pretty steady program for the most part. I mean, you see different sizes here and there. We see sometimes more concentration of males than we do in other years, but for the most part, striped bass has been pretty, you know, straightforward and going. You know, every once in a while we get into some black drum, which is pretty neat. That all of a sudden they show up in the nets, or Atlantic sturgeon. We had 10 sturgeon in a net a few years ago. Whoa! You know, and they were all good, you know, 100 to 150 pounders. Not a fun thing to deal with, tag fish.
I've had some experience, Russ, doing that, and you're absolutely correct. The only worse than that, Russ, is when you get a massive school of, say, 4 to maybe 7-inch white perch. And they get, and they're just with those spines and the thing on their operacles, man. That's just a nightmare. Your hands are shredded. Well, Russ,
they try to rip you apart. Stripers are pretty bad with that too. Yeah. This year we're tagging a few more American shad, so we're seeing a few more of those, which is pretty nice to see. We need them. They're all heading up into the river for the most part. And there's been times where we've had schools of dogs come in, and that's really messed us up. Oh. Those things can be a pain too. But one thing we saw this year was a nice sign was a huge weak fish. First one we've had in a few years down there.
Well, Russ, again, we'll get on the topic of weak fish. You mentioned that in a second. But how long will this netting tagging take place? Through the month of April into May, middle of May? How long does it last?
Yeah, we'll be down there all the way through the end of April, and then we'll see what the weather holds and whether or not we're catching stripers or some other species. Maybe we're catching a few sturgeon. We have a lot of those sturgeon have tags in them that we can check on, and we put tags in them. So, we'll stay down there as long as the weather's good and there's fish to be found.
Russ, the tagging itself, now you've, again, been doing this since '89. Farthest you've had a recorded tag sent to you?
We've had them, up in the St. Lawrence and, up that high and down south. Usually we don't see anything further than in North Carolina. Mm-hmm. Down south. Now, American shad have done the same type of thing. We've seen them all the way down to Georgia.
Russ, now you say shad are still coming in because we were fishing for them the other day all the way up near Columbia. Mostly bucks, but Russ, good numbers.
Yeah, it's been a good run so far from what I've heard, but it's still early. So, we just got into April, so we'll see how things go, but we're still steady on the shad. They've been steady the whole time we've been down there.
Now, Russ, this cold front that's coming through again and supposedly warm by the end of the week, will the bass just literally stop moving? I mean, or they're on a mission, and they're going to, whether the water temperature drops 4 or 5 degrees, 6 degrees, whatever, they're still going on. What's the dealio?
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to stop moving. They're going to keep moving, but they'll tend to school up a little more, but they'll also tend to leave the bay or head to deeper water. So, they won't be up on the flats where we are, which really puts a bummer to us. But, we can't get out there because of the wind anyway, so we'll just have to wait and see. Hope for a good run. We've seen it in the past where we'll get a peak early and then nothing for a while and then another big run of fish and then maybe some smaller schoolies later on.
So, Russ, you've actually had fish, right to the tail end of the exercise then, correct?
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole key is the data used from March and April is the key to our whole when we start to model some of this stuff for migration and natural mortality and those things that go into the stock assessment. That's the 2-month period that we really use for that.
Russ, insofar as, do you guys have do you set, for lack of a better term, a quota? We like to get X number of pounds or X number of fish before we wrap it up, or it's just what we catch is what we catch?
Yeah, it's what we catch is what we catch, because there's some years where we're only going to catch a couple hundred fish. It's just we either miss that big first run or, for whatever reason, we've had boat, problems, engine problems, the boat ramp wasn't ready yet or things of that nature. And this year, Smokey's Marina down there on Bidwell's, Smokey's not been doing too well lately, so he's sold his marina. So we got new owners down there, and we're just starting to deal with them. And they've been great so far. We're going to keep going down there at Smokey's, and but there's always something that could really mess things up. Mm-hmm. So it's we work hard to try to get as many fish as we can possibly get. That's the key to the whole thing. So,
Russ, you're saying Smokey's right there in Reed's Beach, correct?
Correct.
You're at ground zero right there. Well, Russ, let's.
It's an easy trip out there from there.
Yeah, let's. When you say the flats, how deep are these nets set? I mean, feasibly, how deep can you go where it's practical to get it to work?
We can do deep water. I mean, a lot of times, I've told you this before. When we're running, when they're thick, we can hit them. We'll hit them with a prop sometimes. They're up on the surface.
Whoa!
And there's times where we've taken an early ride out to Bug Light, and you're talking 15, 20 foot of water some of these areas, and just watch the whole surface light up with striped bass and set a net. So, we can do deep water, but our nets are 8 to 10 feet deep, so we don't want to get hung up on the bottom too much because it is getting near horseshoe crab season. So
exactly right.
They tend to get hung up in there pretty good.
Russ, you mentioned a big tide runner, weak fish. The past few years, again, good spring fishery right into the summer, and people, you hear it in the marinas and the tackle shops. Why only one fish? They're back. We caught 30 the other day. We caught 50 the other night, et cetera. What are you seeing as far as data regarding the weak fish?
Well, that is a great question, Tom, because Jeff Russ from our office.
In Russ we trust.
He's been working hard on this weak fish stock assessment, and he's been down in Virginia Beach the last few days, presenting it to the peer reviewers. Hopefully everything went fine. I haven't had a chance to chat with him yet. I'll touch base with him probably Monday or Tuesday, and just know that the data doesn't show very good signs of weak fish coming back.
It
There's
doesn't.
a bump, but it's nothing to get excited about at this time.
And the way Mother Nature works, Russ, and there's so many variables involved as far as why the decline, the precipitous, I can't even say a decline, it's a precipitous drop, and it's come up, as you said, so very slightly, but it is encouraging. But on the other hand, you have to put the brakes on the, what's that TV show, Curb the Enthusiasm?
Oh,
because they're just not there. And Russ, I go back to the heydays saying, man, what are we going to do with all these fish? And the guy would say, shut up and just keep throwing them in the cooler. And Russ, it looked like the Garden State Parkway on a July Friday at 6 o'clock coming southbound. Boats everywhere. I remember the boat from Ocean City way back when, the Buccaneer. And if that thing went 6 knots at top end, it was a lot. And they would bring it from Ocean City, Russ, down through the canal and up, and the boat was shoulder to shoulder. It was crazy.
I mean,
it was
crazy back then, that's for sure. And, that went a long way to helping the decline of weak fish. But, their problem now is natural mortality, and no one can figure out what is that natural mortality. So, I know that Jeff and those guys did a great job in putting together a couple models to show, here's something with, we think the natural mortality is, and here's something that doesn't include that, and they're trying to figure out, like, where are we on this? So it's going to be an interesting peer review. I hope everything went well down there, and we'll be discussing that at our ASMFC meetings come May, and hopefully we'll get on a direction, because I'm still the chair of the Weak Fish Committee, or Weak Fish Board, so hopefully we can steer them in the right direction.
Russ, not to be a pain in the ass, but if I can just touch on, I know, I realize I'm the yeast infection that won't quit. Russ, about
muskrat,
muskrat traps, Russ, I'm telling you. But listen, the spotted the spotted sea trout when they show up. I mean, again, that's more of a temperate fish, more of a southerly fish. They show up in numbers. It's been I first started to catch them around 90, 91 from Ocean City south. And they show up, and they're here thick until maybe the first or second week in November again, and then they're gone. And you talk to law enforcement, they say, well, it's tough to distinguish. I said, no, it's not. But they're keeping it to one fish, Russ. Why?
Well, that's an easy question. Easy answer. It is an enforcement problem, because if you remember back in the day with hybrid striped bass and striped bass, everybody would get a striped bass that might have some broken lines, and it's like, oh, no, that's a hybrid.
Yeah.
And that's exactly where this comes from is, hey, people are going to abuse this beyond belief, because they're going to say, I thought that was a weak fish, or I thought that was a spotted sea trout. Say if we had a 5-fish limit on spotted sea trout. They'd have weak fish and go, I thought they were spotted sea trout. And that's exactly what will happen. And if you take that to a court of law, judge is going to laugh you right out of the building. So it's easier for the enforcement community to have things the same, just so you don't have all those guys that would do that in a flash. Don't do it.
Human nature sucks. Join us on the line.
And it screws everybody else.
Join us on the line. Russ Allen, Chief, New Jersey Bureau of Marine Fisheries. Topic, netting and tagging striped bass on Delaware Bay. We touch on weak fish. Russ, before I let you go, the cobia question. My phone was off the hook, burning up Twitter. I don't do Twitter, but what's it? Texting, all that stuff. Tom P, they're closing cobia. They're closing cobia. Cobia is closed. Blah, blah, blah. I called you in a panic. Russ, can we straighten this out? What is happening with the veal chop of the sea?
Yeah, cobia is one of our major concerns of marine fisheries up here in New Jersey. So, it's been a pretty interesting ride with this. What happened was the South Atlantic Council, which, doesn't really have authority over us, and we can't change our regulations when they do something. So they went and had an assessment on cobia, changed the way they manage cobia, made the line at Georgia, Florida. I didn't want to say Florida, Georgia, because then we'd be thinking music. So, it's Georgia, Florida, so everything to the north is now overfished. And then NIMS came back with a recommendation and then went through the process that they have, and they're shutting down, starting June 20th, cobia fisheries to the north. So there's a lot of discussions. I've been discussing things with New York, Delaware, and Maryland. Obviously, we're not big players in this.
Right.
So we're all trying to make sure that we have the same regulations no matter what we do, whether we don't do anything, whether we close the fisheries, whatever. So we're all trying to make sure that we do the same thing. You're going to see over the next few weeks there's a Mid-Atlantic Council meeting. It's probably going to come up there as a discussion point. It's also going to be at ASMFC in May to have a discussion point there. We can't change our regs unless ASMFC or the Mid-Atlantic Council does something.
Okay.
So we're pretty much where we are. I know right now Virginia, who is going to be hammered with this regulation, they're going to take the brunt of it because everybody to the south of them is going to be able to fish until June, and their fishery doesn't start until June.
Exactly.
They're going to have to shut it down, and they're a big player. So they're trying to get this pushed back sometime later in the year, so at least they get some time in to fish. Obviously this wasn't done with them in mind at all. They didn't take them into consideration, didn't take any of the northern states, mid-Atlantic states into consideration. So it's a game we're playing right now. We can't do anything until ASMFC or Mid-Atlantic Council tells us to do something. And we'd have to go through the rulemaking process, and it takes too long. That
takes too long, Russ. And I know from my experience up here, as little as it is, we usually encounter the cobia about the middle to the end of July.
Right.
And then right through September into October. You see them around the buoys and stuff like that. And they're an incredible game fish, great fight, fun to catch, and tremendous eating. So that would.
It's going to be a shame because federal waters are going to be closed.
That's it.
State waters may not be. So
may not.
Mouth of the bay and all those types of places where you might see some cobia, we'd be able to land those because we wouldn't have any regulations in place.
Okay,
so we're going to have to see how it shakes out over the next couple months, and then we'll keep you posted.
People, fingers crossed. Russ Allen, thanks for joining us. Say Rack and Fin, by the way, before I let you go, how's that wonderful family?
Everybody's good. We're heading down today to go see Maddie play some baseball, so going to be big fun today.
Please, the Orioles need help. Their pitching is going to be work with me here, Alan. Work with me. Okay, Russ, you take care. Great having you on Rack and Fin. See you soon.
All right, man. You take care of yourself and your sweet little missus.
She's the best. See you, man.
Bud. See you.
Yeah, way long on that segment. Yeah, I tell you had a chance to get down there. Smokey's Marina, Reed's Beach. Is that 47 going up Delaware Bay? Check it out. The tagging, the netting, the tagging. Very interesting. You find out, like Russ says, the St. Lawrence Seaway all the way down to North Carolina. These stripers do move. Tom P. up against break. Grab that cup. Grab that Red Bull. Rack and Fin Radio, WPG 1450 AM from 6 to 7, 7 to 8, 97.3 ESPN FM.
This is Rack and Fin Radio with Tom P. on WPG Talk Radio 1450.
Yeah, welcome back to Rack and Fin Radio with me, Tom P. WPG 1450 AM, the great talk radio from 6 to 7 and from 7 to 8, 97.3 ESPN FM. 50,000 watts of the Rack and Fin Radio message. Okay, trout time. Opening day next week, April 9th, is going to be all rainbows. Okay, here's the dealio. Spinners are winners when it comes to that. I like my salmon eggs. We do that. We're going to get into that in a little later on in the show. But spinners are winners when it comes, especially to rainbows. Very aggressive fish. Now it's going to be rainbows. It looks like through 2018, possibly 2019. What is synonymous with spinners? MEPS. Tried and true, been around I don't know how many decades. Like I said, I'm an old guy. I've been using MEPS for probably going on 40 years myself. Joining us on the line right now is Josh Schwartz. He's the communications director for MEPS, and Michael Sheldon. He is the sales manager for MEPS, based out there in Wisconsin. Number one spinner of all time is the MEPS, and they have a model out this year that is going to be a killer. It's called a new Aglia E. They're going to explain his badass spinner. Hopefully he's going to be in the Dixon Bass Pro Shops and stuff down here pretty soon. So if not there already, check it out. Let's get these guys on the line. Gentlemen, how are you this morning? Welcome to Rack and Fin. How you been?
Been doing well. Been doing great. Thank you for having us on, Tom.
I saw this Aglia E, Mike and Josh, and I said, whoa, this is going to be devastating. Go into the concept behind this. This thing is a monster.
Well, the Aglia E is a spin-off of our original Aglia spinner, and I heard you talking about how long we've had spinners for. The original Aglia was actually invented in 1938, and the Aglia E, it's just a little bit different. Instead of having the tube on the hook, we've got a lifelike salmon-looking egg on the hook.
Uh-huh.
We've also got some dots at the bottom of the blade, so kind of gives an egg sac pattern while the blade is spinning.
And the eggs, listeners, are synonymous with rainbows. I mean, there's the power baits. We have all that stuff for eggs, and spinner. Eggs. Okay, they're going to key on this big time, Sheldon. You have is it a hard plastic? Is it a soft plastic? What's the deal with the egg?
It's a soft plastic that's nearly indestructible. I don't think you're going to have any problem losing the egg no matter how many fish you catch.
I just see this as a win-win across the board. Again, a subtle change, but a change nonetheless that is going to take, to me, the Aglia to a new level, especially here in Jersey with the rainbows.
I would agree with that. It should be perfect for the rainbow fishery, and I know with your guys' stocking programs, rainbows are a big part of what you got going on.
Yep, and that is it. Now, how many sizes in an Aglia E lineup, please?
There are 6 different sizes. ranging from a 12th ounce up to a half ounce.
Oh, that 12th ounces. I like to hit some of the smaller. I'm telling you, listen, South Jersey and the Cohansey River, this is going to be a Terminator. Okay, guys, I want to get into also. You have another series. Our waters in the central and southern part of the state happen to be, turbid, stained. They're not really the crystal clear waters that we have up in the Highlands region up north. You have an Aglia Glow. Okay, or a Glow Aglia, so to speak. Is it the blade? I mean, it's the MEPS. I read about it once. The MEPS color technology. These things are going to show up in a pot of coffee. That's how bright these are. Go into that color technology, please.
Well, our Glow Aglia, it's got a glow blade as well as a glow tube. And in the type of water, the stained water that you're talking about, glow is going to be a great color for that because it's going to contrast with the water. And that's kind of what color technology is all about, just picking out a spinner that's going to contrast the water and let the fish be able to see it from as far away as possible.
I mean, you guys have some wild color. You have glow chartreuse. You have hot orange. I mean, I call it orangeade, listeners, because this orange MEPS it was almost criminal what I was doing last year with this orange glow Aglia. Guys, blade shape. You have the Aglia, now you have the Aglia long. Please go into deeper water, the more narrow blade on the long. What's the dealio?
Well, the longer willow-shaped blade on an Aglia long is going to run a little bit deeper than the French blade on the standard Aglia. And does it hug the body tighter? It does hug the body more so, and that's part of the reason it's got a lot less loft. We like that, listeners. Now, also MEPS, as you know, they buy squirrel tails. The tailed Aglia. Why the squirrel, guys? Why squirrel hair? Well, the squirrel hair, when it gets wet, it doesn't slim down and, go tight with the hook when it's in the water. It maintains its profile and the puffiness of the tail, if you will. And it's almost, I've noticed over the many years of just observing these things, it's almost like, listen, like a slight pulsation, and that can be a tiebreaker as well. But listen, there's a new Aglia E. And the Glow Aglia on the line right now, Michael Sheldon, sales manager for MEPS, and Josh Schwartz, he's the national communications director. Stop, put it down over there. Okay, guys, I'm going to break my rule. break my rule. The intern up there is holding up the word Thunderbug. Go into that badass little spinner you guys make called the Thunderbug and the concept. Killing me here. And the concept behind it, please. Well, I know the Thunderbug's your personal favorite spinner, and to let the cat out of the bag, it's got a unique design. The blade is really shaped like the wings on a bug, and because of the shape of the blade and the shape of the body, you get a little bit additional clicking sound of the blade clicking against the body in addition to the standard vibration that comes with the blade, and that's what makes it so deadly. Listeners, they pound the sound. Well, gentlemen, thanks for joining us on Rack and Fin. You have a great season. Give that website, please. Listen, everything you want to catch in freshwater, even so, it's in the MEPS catalog. Muskies especially, you guys really across the board, I mean, this is it. You've really kicked some ass. I appreciate hearing that. Thank you very much. Give that website or Facebook. Go.
You can go to MEPS.com, Facebook.com/MEPS Spinners, and we also are on Instagram, Instagram.com/MEPS Spinners.
And listen, a little later on in the spring, I want to have these gentlemen back to discuss when you're fishing the deeper reservoirs from the bank now, like Round Valley Reservoir, Shepherd Lake up there, the Coldwater Lakes. If you're ever up that way, it's called the MEPS Little Wolf, one of the deadliest spoons ever devised. But guys, we're saving that for another segment. You take care. Have a great spring.
All right, you too. Thank you.
Like I said, next week is opening day. April 9th kicks off the trout season, and what a trout season we have coming up. Joining us on the line right now, a very special guest is Jeff Matthews, Chief of Fish Production up there at the Peak West Hatchery. Only a couple of minutes left in this segment. Jeff's going to tell us what we can expect 8 o'clock next Saturday and for the next 7 weeks. Jeff, how's it going, brother?
Hey, Tom, how's it going?
If you have even close to last year, you're going to give me a heart attack, Matthews. That was unbelievable.
Hey, we got a healthy population of rainbow trout again this year.
Jeff, I'm looking at a baseline figure of 570,270. Is that correct?
We are definitely on target, Tom, for that 570.
Plus,
yes, we are.
And we have the bonus brood stock program going on. Listeners, go to njfishandwildlife.com. 10 select lakes, north, central, south. They will receive anywhere from 30 to 50 rainbows. These are 3-year-olds, Jeff, I understand, up to some. Yep. I saw some up there, Jeff. They're 5, 6, 7 pounds. They're monsters.
The 3-year-olds we're putting out this year, Tom, are averaging 6 pounds each.
Averaging.
So we got some surprises coming down there.
That is good, Jeff. How's it looking so far? The rainbows, everything on track, correct?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, we're doing really well this year again.
Now, Matthews, I'm going to hit you. Last year, your baseline was 570,000, 270 pretty much the same, and you guys ended up stocking over 600,000. Are we looking at a surplus here, Matthews? What do you got?
Well, it's looking pretty good again, Tom. It's a little early to say it, but our production is strong, and it's looking real good again to be on that kind of numbers again this year. So,
okay, Jeff, the rainbows are rocking. Everyone I spoke to, not one negative about the rainbows. Everyone loving it. Brook trout to me and browns, I think they're going away. Jeffrey, what do you think?
Well, for now they are, Tom. Until we get this place fully protected from our avian predators and we're sure the bacteria is gone, we may introduce brown trout down the road someday to start with.
Jeff Matthews, I want to get you on the line in a few weeks as the season unfolds. Listeners, April 9th, 8 a.m. Go to njfishandwildlife.com. Check out the stocking numbers. The days they're stocked. You guys really going to the nines. This is going to be another great season, Matthews. Congratulations.
Hey, thanks, Tom. And just keep in mind down there, we got an open house going on here today also.
That's right, today and tomorrow. I mentioned that last week we had on Little D Piano. We're going to try to get up there tomorrow, Jeff. We got so much stuff going on here. Scouting turkeys. We have a dinner tonight, Delta waterfowl dinner, so it's going to be crazy. Are you going to be there tomorrow?
Oh, yeah, I'll be around tomorrow.
You'll hear
on
me
the ground somewhere.
You'll hear me coming, Matthews. You take care.
Okay. All right, very good.
I'll be up against a break. Be right back. Rack and Fin Radio.
This is Rack and Fin Radio with Tom P. on WPG Talk Radio 1450.
Yeah, back inside Rack and Fin Radio with me, Tom P. WPG 1450 AM from 6 to 7, the Great Talk Radio, 7 to 8, 97.3, ESPN FM, 50,000 watts of the Rack and Fin Radio message. Also streaming live on the web, WPG1450.com, 97.3 ESPN.com. As I said, the hatchery trucks are rolling. Opening day coming up next Saturday, April 9th. This year, as in last year, and it looks through 2018, if not 19. Again, it will be all rainbows. Okay, various baits out there, various lures out there, as we've mentioned. The probably number one when it comes to bait for rainbows, especially in a moving water environment, you can't beat the salmon egg. As Tom P says, you got to egg them to plague them. Joining us on the line right now, very special guest, Tom Vandermaus. He is the president, Atlas Mike's Bait Company. Yes, the Atlas salmon eggs, the Mike salmon eggs, those badass shrimp salmon eggs that were killer through the 80s, through the 90s, the garlic eggs, which are mashing the hell. I call them widowmakers, limit takers. Garlic eggs. Now, they have a new egg out, I understand. It's called the glitter egg, and in the central and south Jersey streams, such as the north and south branches of the Metedeconk, the Cohansey, the Morris River, the Toms, the turbid waters, stained waters. What is going to show up at this new, called the glitter egg? Tom's on the line right now to tell us about this new bait. Tom Vandermaus, good to talk to you again, little brother. How are you?
Pretty good.
Tom,
I'd love to hear that there's all rainbow trout coming out there.
Rainbows. They're going to be over the numbers. I'm telling you, last year, I think they put out 610 or 613,000 in a 7-week in-season stocking period. The people love the rainbows. They did polls on them, surveys. Rainbows bite a lot faster, a lot quicker, fight better, jump, and they're great on the table, and they're just amazing fish. I like the time you stick them, man. A lot of them come airborne. But tell me, back to the eggs. Your company now, you are the standard. Atlas Mike's salmon eggs known around the world. Man, I've been using them since I'm talking back in the early 60s. The cheese eggs. I remember the cheese eggs. You have a full lineup. Listeners, you go to Atlas Mike Bait Company, check out their website. It's just amazing. You'll see all these eggs that they manufacture. Or cure, whatever you call it. But Tom, this new glitter egg, what do we have here?
Yeah, what we've got is, the Mike's is known for the large jumbo-sized egg.
Right.
And what we've done is we've taken the same eggs that we've had, like with the shrimp, the cheese, and everything, which has the natural scent, which really attracts the rainbow trout. And we've just added a glitter as another attractant on there. So it still has the natural smell, but now it's got the glitter, which is just another feature to help attract the fish. And what happens is if you're fishing in the waters, you might get a little reflection, and some of the speckles will fall off gradually. So it's really we've had really good success with it so far. Tom,
the research I've done, the glitter, it attracts and reflects all subsurface light. So, I mean, the trout, even you get a rain, you know how the Cohansey gets, the Morris gets after, sometimes you get precipitation, and it starts to brown up a little bit. Tom, this is going to be a tiebreaker. That glitter is really going to make a difference. Absolutely. Now, we just have it in the red, correct?
Nope, we have it in yellow, pink, and red. 3 colors.
So much for my research, huh?
Well, you can't be right on everything.
Tom, I'm been a red guy. I call him all my articles over the many, many years. I call him the Scarlet. Remember the Scarlet letter? The Scarlet eggs have always been a go-to for me. But then I got turned on to the shrimp. But Tom, I'm getting off track here, listeners. But if you get a chance, go to Dick's, whatever sporting goods. The garlic eggs, Tom, have just been a crush. Now, other garlic seems to be the thing. Garlic scent's been around in bass lures. Now, other companies are putting it in some of their paste baits. What is it about that magic enzyme?
You know, and I'm not really sure, but it started, I bet probably 5 or 6 years ago out west. It started crazy with the garlic, and it's just come all the way to the East Coast now. And, shrimp egg is by far our number one seller, but the garlic egg is our number 2 and getting closer every year to the shrimp.
It's just an amazing. Now, Tom, the garlic comes in how many colors?
The garlic comes in the yellow and the pink.
Okay, joining us on the line this morning, Tom Vandermoz. He is the president, Atlas Mike's Bait Company. Trout season opens next Saturday, April 9th. It's rainbows, 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 and more rainbows, man. You got to egg them to plague them. Exactly as Tom P. says. Tom, back to the eggs now. Before I let you go, sizes. I know you have different sizes. And also, listen, if you can find them, Tom, you sell stuff online. Those Siberians. Those little ones. And Tom, you have the little red hots. Size, does size matter? What are you finding in your egg sales about that?
Well, actually, for your streams out by you, the larger eggs, the Mike's brand, is our best seller because it's a little bigger. You can conceal the whole hook in the egg. But if you're fishing like in a lake or a slow-moving water, then we've got some eggs like our Mr. Trout, which is cured with sugar.
Ooh.
And it's a little softer, and it will milk out into the water. But for the stream fishing, we find the Mike's jumbo-sized eggs work the best.
Okay, Tom, except for I can see when my fingers are freezing in the early season and I go to grab an egg, go pip, and it slips out. Oil pack versus dry pack, advantage to each one.
Well, there's both of them have the natural smell. For some reason, the people have grown accustomed to the oil, and then we also can put the scent in much better that way.
Okay.
But now with the new glitter eggs, those are a dry pack. So if you are looking for something that's not quite as slippery, try the new glitter eggs.
Listen, check out the Atlas Mike's, the glitter eggs. They are going to be a tiebreaker on the streams, especially this year. Tom, thanks for joining us. Give that website, please.
www.atlasmikes.com.
Listen, I'm telling you, get into this egg business. You're gonna order a case of. There's Tom. How many SKUs do you guys have? A couple of thousand?
How many different eggs?
Yeah,
probably about 100.
Oh, Tom, listen, before I let you go, I tried some several years ago. You have a badass gel scent there, brother. Go into that a little bit.
Oh, yeah, our scents, Lunker Lotion and Gel Scent, they are a sticky formula scent that if you put it on your lure, even after trolling or casting for, say, 20, 30 minutes, it will still hold on your bait and give off that scent to take away any human odor and also add some fish-attracting quality. So it really makes almost any plastic, hard lure much more effective.
Great stuff. Tom, thanks for joining us. You have a great season. How's your brother and that tremendous crew out there in Wisconsin?
They're all doing really well.
When you
just a side note, Tom, when you call in the office, I always get, hey, because my name's Tom. He says, Tom, the wild man's on the line. We love your enthusiasm.
It's just every day my feet hit the hardwood. It's a great day, Tom. That's it. And you've known me many, many years at all the trade shows. I keep it going. I don't know where it comes from, but it just keeps going.
Well, you keep it going because we love it.
Okay, Tom, you take care. I'll see you this spring sometime.
Okay, take care. Thank you.
Hey, man, a Tom P. motto. Got to egg them to plague them. I've tried the corn eggs when I was a kid, the cheese eggs. Shrimp eggs are deadly. The garlic eggs are deadly. But these, I'll tell you, these glitter eggs, they're going to make a difference, especially on the Morris River, Cohansey, the Toms, Matitacock, the north and south branches, the Manasquan, what they call the Big Muddy. It looks like it's going to rain and that thing gets discolored. Glitter eggs are going to make a difference. Joining us on the line right now is Ross Schramko. Ross Schramko, who's that? He is the trout stocking coordinator, New Jersey's Bureau of Freshwater Fisheries, based at the Fisheries Lab in Lebanon, up there in Huntington County. You wonder, the trout stocking lists are out in the days you can stock. Go to njfishandwildlife.com. Check out all the numbers. That's what they call baseline. Okay, as we said, there's going to be a lot more out there. Pequest did a masterful job again this year. But you wonder, why does this water only get so many fish, besides the standard size? You get water bodies similar size. Why does one get more than the other? Rivers, Sauk River, moving waters. Why does one get more than another? Geez, they're the same width and it's about the same length. Where do these numbers come from? Well, Mr. Schramko is going to explain the ins and outs. Where they come up with the numbers of trout that are going in your favorite stream or lake or pond or reservoir. Russ Schramko, how are you? Welcome to Rack and Fin, little brother. First time in.
Yeah, good morning, Tom. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Ross, a pleasure. Now, listen, Ross used to work down here at the Marine in Port Republic, the NACO Creek there. And when I run into him the next year up on the big Flatbrook in northern Sussex County, of all places, I said, Man, I know you from somewhere. You said, yeah, I know you from somewhere. Ross, it's quite a transition that you're making to go from marine to being, coordinating all the trout stocking. How did that happen?
Well, actually, Tom, I wasn't in marine fisheries. I was doing some work with basically lands management in a private lands biologist position.
Oh, okay.
Helping people put wildlife habitat on their grounds on private lands, and then came over to fisheries.
Oh, well, I saw them over at NACO Creek, so they figure marine fisheries. I mean, so Ross, how does it, coming up with these trout numbers as per venue, what actually goes into that?
Well, let me start at the beginning, I guess. It's a long process that began in the early 1970s. Back then, there was no allocation formula. It was, I don't want to say it was the wild, wild west, but it was, the squeaky wheel got the grease, I guess, where the trout went.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the 70s, biologists started looking at what other states were doing. And basically, other states were looking at trying to put something together that took in the different factors or categories, physical categories, biological, social. Interest in New Jersey really ramped up with the construction of the Peak West Trout Hatchery in the 1980s.
Right.
And we put together a plan that was voted on by the public in 1989. And in 1990, the plan was adopted by the Fish and Game Council. And I guess you have me on today to talk a little bit about what some of those categories are and what some of the factors are.
Right.
So I guess I'll just dive right into it. Basically, we have physical categories or factors, biological and social. And they differ, of course, with streams and rivers and then the lakes and ponds. So the physical aspect of the streams, we look at the size of the stream, obviously, the amount of flow. Mm-hmm. There's 6 categories there that range from, I'm not going to bore you with the details, but the high flow to low flow. And that's essentially looking at the annual average of March and April's cubic feet per second, how much water is flowing by in March and April. Then we also look at the length of the stream that we stock, okay? So essentially each stocking point gets about a half a mile considered that the trout will be in a half a mile area from that stocking point, a quarter mile upstream, quarter mile downstream.
Okay.
All right. So the very first thing that's done is we look at the size of the stream and how many miles. And based on those two things, you start with like a baseline number for that stream. Then we start looking at other factors such as the social factors and biological factors. All right. And we adjust up or down from there. And the biological factors are things like year-round or seasonal. And basically that just means if the water body stays cool enough for trout year-round, those places get a bonus number of fish because anglers can get to those fish all year round.
Exactly right.
Other water bodies, in the south and unfortunately warm up a little bit too much in the summer months. Mm-hmm. So we don't want to put too many fish in there that fish just end up getting wasted and anglers don't have a chance to harvest.
Exactly.
So they don't get a penalty or anything. They just don't get that 10% increase that the year-round water bodies get. We also have the social factors, and they differ a little bit with the streams from the lakes and ponds. So on the streams, since we're talking about them right now, we look at ownership, how much of the stream that we stock is on public land. We look at parking. If it has good parking, you might get a little bit more fish. Just good access for anglers.
Access, right.
Yep. And, of course, angler interest. The more interest, the more fish you're going to get. And those factors change every year. That's why one year you may see more fish in your favorite stream, and the next year you may see less. So all of that allows us to adjust, minor adjustments up and down each and every year to try to keep our finger on the pulse, make sure that the anglers are getting the fish and the fish are getting where the anglers are.
Good.
So that's really it for the streams. All of that goes into one big database, and the computer kind of spits out a baseline number for the streams. Same sort of thing for the lakes and ponds, which is a little bit different factors. The physical factors for lakes and ponds are the size of the lake, surface area. Mm-hmm. The bigger the lake, the more fish you get. Essentially, the first 5 acres from acre 1 to 5 gets about 75 fish per acre. Now, it's got to be a sliding scale because if we kept it at 75 fish per acre, these larger water bodies would just take all the fish. And
this is
just
true.
Be too many wouldn't be enough to spread around. So, the ones that are the acres between 6 and 30 get a lesser amount, and then anything over 30, only gets 1 fish per acre.
Okay.
So, the bigger water bodies still end up with more fish, but it's, it's a sliding scale.
So, Ross, on the overall, then it's you'd say 90% equitable, 95% equitable, insofar as, again, access, angler pressure, and utilization of the resource, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, I mean, that's what we're aiming for. We're looking for something that's equitable throughout the state, but also taking into account that not every water is the same, and
right.
Some places should get more fish, and some places should get less.
Ross, let me tell you, after a second. Again, I'm playing to remember one thing, people. Yes, I am older than dirt. I told you, I was with Moses when he came down with the tablets over there, okay? Ross, I remember places like Lake Aqua. I was a kid. Lake Aquatunk in Stoke State Forest and Lake Wapelani before Montclair State College took it over. We get the little compendium with the numbers of trout. 800 trout. Like we're opening 800, and like the squeaky wheel gets the grease down here in the South Ends. I remember I was a kid coming down Square Circle Pond. Not big at all, getting 500, 600 trout for opening day. Again, it was politics. Okay, this is our favorite water. We want fish here. We want fish here. And then when the trout formula was adopted and the big change came, Ross, it was blood in the air. They were screaming for it. It was great. But over the years, people got used to it. Now, to me, and I'm very fortunate, Ross, I get to fish from Sawmill Lake down to Ponder Lodge Pond, a lot of points in between. It seems to be very, very equitable.
Yeah, that's what we're aiming for, to basically be fair as it can be. That you got rid of that political aspect of it. It's all based on now the biological factors and social factors.
I'll tell you, bro, back in the day, too, looking at the old New Jersey Outdoors magazine, South Jersey was a major player on the trout scene. Places like, Big Timber Creek, Big Lebanon Run that were stocked. These places probably don't even have any water in them anymore. But South Jersey was a big-time trout area. So we try to keep it going down here. We have right behind the Rack and Fin Radio Studios right here. You have Birch Grove Park Pond. You have Heritage Park Pond over there off the White Horse Pike. And we have the Morris River, the Cohansey River. We got a lot of opportunities down here. Listeners in the Rack and Fin area, probably 25 to 28 stocked waters. Make that 44 if you count the fringes up there listening here in Monmouth County. So, Ross, we have a great job overall, and it looks like it's going to be another super banner year. I thought last year was crazy. This year is going to be nuts.
Yeah, the hatchery did a great job. We're back from our issues that we had a few years ago. Have our baseline of 570,000 trout. We're back to that. We have our bonus broodstock programs. They'll be running back to normal this year. We picked 9 to 10 lakes throughout the state where we put extra 3-year-old trout, rainbow trout this year. So everything's looking good. We're back to the way things were. Hopefully anglers will be out there and be happy to catch the fish that the hatchery stocks.
Again, listeners, njfishandwildlife.com. Go to the trout fishing link, the numbers, the dates when they're stocked. I mean, they really, really put it to the people. Opportunities. Trout fishing in Jersey has never been better. And let me tell you, Shramko, I was up the hatchery. I saw in one of the raceways some of those breeders for the bonus broodstock program. You fell in that raceway, brother. You weren't coming out. Oh, that was it, man. They were monsters. Ross, thanks for joining us. God spares. I'll see you on the stream one time this spring.
Thank you for having me, Tom. Yeah, I'll see you out there.
Take care. Yeah, and you wonder, again, why does this stream get this and this? They're about the same width, same like there are, as Shramko explained, there are some differences. Good allocation there. I want to say, grab that cup, grab that Rebel. Be right back. Rack and Fin Radio. Trout time! Opening day next week. Be right back.
This is Rack and Fin Radio with Tom P. on WPG Talk Radio 1450.
Yeah, back for our final segment, Rack and Fin Radio with me, Tom P. WPG 1450 AM, the Great Talk Radio from 6 to 7, 7 to 8, 97.3, ESPN FM, 50,000 watts of the Rack and Fin Radio message, celebrating our 13th year on the air. Okay, belated, but a Happy New Year! Here in the parallel universe of Rack and Fin Radio. When the season opens, as it did yesterday, April 1st, it is indeed cause for celebration. Indeed, a new year, and we're talking Blackfish, a.k.a. TOG, the month-long, quote-unquote, season. Okay, we'll end April 30th, 4 fish at 15 inches. How was your TOG fishing last fall through the winter, guys and girls? Pretty mild winter. Hey, look it out. Season closed there. We had a gap in there, but from what I called a very, 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 very good autumn season, we are now bouncing to the 1 month in spring. Joining us on the line right now is Linda Barry. She's a senior marine fisheries biologist, Bureau of Marine Fisheries up there on Route 9 in Nacote Creek. And she's going to talk the TOG stock assessment. How does it look for this spring? Are TOG stocks Okay? Nay? What do you say? Barry, what do you say? Thanks for joining us on Rack and Fin, young lady. How are you?
Good. How are you, Tom?
Lock, cocked, and ready to rock. We got trout, we got tog, we have turkeys. The 3 T's in Tom P's parallel universe. Lindy, what do you think? Too much going on. Lindy, how are the blackfish? What's the situation, young lady?
Well, the blackfish, they haven't really changed too much from the last few years as far as like the stock and all. I know that some of the landings have gone up, but right now we're kind of in a holding pattern because our stock assessment that we completed back end of 2014, there were a few more analyses that needed to be run, and so right now we're waiting on the results of those additional stock assessment runs, and so especially for New Jersey. We really don't know what our status is yet. We're going to be finding out fairly soon. The main reason why we had this problem with trying to figure out where we are is that we're going from a coastwide management to a regional management for tautog, and it's a big change. And last fall there were a bunch of public meetings that the Atlantic State Marine Fisheries Commission has sponsored for each of the states that has fishery for tautog. And basically they wanted to put forth a bunch of the regional options, going from the coastwide to a 3-region plan to a possible 4-region plan, and they wanted to get the public information, the document out for people to respond to. Mm-hmm. So now it's been whittled down to 2 regional options, and the part that is being finished up, that is the part that the New Jersey's right in the thick of, because the northern part of the region and the southern parts of the region, those are fixed. So the northern end would be Massachusetts and Rhode Island together, and the southern is Delaware through Virginia and North Carolina. Those parts are fixed. We know that that's going to be the 2 regions there. What we don't know about is the 3rd or the 4th region, because the most recent analysis that was being carried out was for a stock assessment of just the Long Island Sound tautog. And then that would mean that you would have Connecticut and New York with just the Long Island Sound part of New York put together in one region. Mm-hmm. And then you would have New Jersey with the New York without the Long Island Sound part being put together into our region here. And because we hadn't done the assessment with that kind of a boundary for the regions during the regular stock assessment, that's what we're waiting on right now. And I know that the Long Island Sound part of it has been completed, and we're going to be reviewing the results on that. We have a conference call coming next week. But that's the thing. It's kind of like until we go through the results of that and go through the results of the New York without Long Island Sound, with New Jersey, we don't even know what our stock status is.
Oh, wow. Join us on the line this morning, April 2nd, Linda Barry. She's a senior marine fisheries biologist in Jersey Bureau of Freshwater Fish, or Saltwater, or Marine Fisheries, rather. I'm thinking trout, Lindy, sorry. Up there on Route 9, Nacre Creek. Lindy, well, here's the situation. All the charter captains I spoke with, private boat anglers, even people fishing on the jetties up there, and Barnegat, Light Park, and Inlet, whatever. It was a really good fall season into the winters. But are we, maybe you can't commit one way or another, but fear is that the recreational angler, recreational community is going to take a hit when it comes to TOG for 2017. Is that a distinct possibility?
That's a possibility. I wouldn't say that it's a definite. Again, we won't know until we get the results back from the stock assessments, and we won't even know until the final decision's been made on the regions, whether we're going to go with the 4-region plan for the stock, or if it's going to be a 3-region, in which case then Connecticut is going to be lumped in with New York and New Jersey. Okay. So I suspect that there may be some changes, but as far as whether there actually will be a change, or if we have a change, how much of a change it's going to be, that is totally up in the air. I'm just getting a bad feeling, listener. So Tom P's advice: go out and get him now. You got 30 days. Go out and get him. Maximize your harvest, man. Keep that limit. Sorry, Lindy. That's what I see. It's like we know for a fact that nothing will change as far as the regulations go through the end of 2016. So people can count on that.
Okay.
But starting 2017, I really don't know. I wish I could give you more of an answer than that. We'll know more going through the rest of the year, but there's a lot that's
Barry, wait a second.
happening.
Somebody in that office told me you have a crystal ball in one of those drawers in your desk. Come on.
I wish.
Listen, let me add some ligature to this conversation. I was very fortunate several years ago to be a press member on a trawl survey, which Linda was. And let me tell you something. It was all I can do to hold on to stay standing. Do you people, were you up there, were you born with sea legs, Barry? I mean, they were walking like it's no way, 6-8 foot rolling, bam. I'm holding on for dear life around these pillars. Mommy, help me. And you guys were trolling, recording, data. It was amazing. That was something to watch, Barry. That really was.
Well, thank you. Yeah, no, it's one of those things where they, once you get out on that boat and you've been on there for a while, you do get the sea legs, and your body just reacts to the movements of the boat. And I'm sure a lot of the fishermen that go out all the time, they do the same thing. But the boat that we're on, we're doing probably a few more things than the average fisherman would be, as far as like taking all those measurements and weights and everything else. But we get used to it, and we have a lot of fun while we're doing it. But we also do as much as we possibly can, because we know that this is the opportunity to be able to learn as much as we can about the fish that we have here.
That's it. Listeners, Linda Barry is just too kind to relate to you that, yes, fact be it as it may, Tom P. was in a fetal position in the galley under the table for about 6 out of the 8 hours of that trip. One of the other hours, I was in the head vomiting. Okay, and the other hour, I was holding out for dear life outside. So we got it. Well, Lenny, thanks for joining us on Rack and Fin. You take care. Have a great season. See you on the water.
Thank you. You too.
Take care. We're going to wrap it up with Captain Dave the Rave Scholl of Absecon Bay Sports Center, 81 Natalie Terrace in Absecon. Dave has taken the bull by the horn, so to speak, with the Save the Summer Flounder Fishery Fund, getting monies. Dave is going to run a one-day tournament on opening day, May 21st of the flounder season. We have him on the line right now, but I understand they're doing some whomper stomper bassing down your way. Captain Dave, how you doing? What do you got?
It's just going crazy around here. I may have bitten off more than I can chew, but I know you're going to help Tom, and
yep.
I got a load of help from Bimini Bay Tackle, and the RFA is going big time. I'm running a tournament to benefit the Save the Summer Flounder Fishery Fund. I'm absolutely disgusted, as we've talked about many times, with the way that they're just taking away our flounder, taking away our access to flounder, taking away everything to do with it. So I'm running a benefit tournament. It's going to be 50-50. $50 entry for your boat, 50-50, half going to prizes, half going to the Save the Summer Flounder Fishery Fund. And I tell you what, this morning we confirmed we got a big push from the RFA, who's being backed by Yamaha Outboards, and they're donating $1,000 cash to the RFA member that's the winner in here.
Whoa!
But don't enter this tournament without making sure your RFA membership is up to date.
Beautiful. Now, Dave, how can people find out more about this?
It's online. Right now, my Facebook page, Facebook.com/Absecon Bay is getting it. I'm building a page just for the tournament, so we can concentrate information there. But go to there, go to my website. I have sign-ups online. This is going to be the real thing. We're going to have a great kayak division. I hope we get time to sit down and talk about that. And that's going to be a real good thing. It's going to be a completely separate kayak tournament, so you're not going to be fishing against the big boys. Wow,
Dave, that's great. Now, before I let you go, Shola, what's happening with the bass down your way?
I don't know. My brother went and retired from the county sheriff's department, and now he's full-time fisherman. Yesterday he walks through my door with a 33-pounder.
Jeez.
Put up in the Mullica.
Wow.
You know what? He was going to release it, but he realized that this fish is eating the endangered herring running upstream. So he just had to take it home with him and put it in his smoker because he wanted to save those herring.
I like the way he thinks. Okay, Captain Dave, one more time with that Facebook page and website.
Yeah, go to Facebook.com/Absecon Bay and AbseconBay.com. We're on there. All the information's there. Let's get out and fish, because it is just blowing up right now.
Okay, Dave, you take care, man. See you this week. That was over this week on Rack and Fin Radio. Okay, some weather today through Monday, Tuesday, man. The chill is on. Trout season opens next week, April 9th. Bass around, man. Get out and enjoy. Tom P., God bless America. God bless our troops. See you next week. Rack and Fin Radio.